Now, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder affects about 1 in 20 children in the UK. Now, it refers to a range of behavioural problems associated with poor attention span.
Meet Matthew Lander. Little Matthew was diagnosed with ADHD when he was just 5 years old, and he was given the drug Ritalin to control his behaviour. And here he is with his mum, Lisa, and an expert on ADHD, Professor Peter Hill. Matthew, what did you say to your mum to change your medication? I mean, one day you decided, you know what, I want to come off this. Why did you do that, and what did you say to mum?
I said I wanted to come off it because it wasn't helping me concentrate at school. It was making me sad, tired, and not making me want to play sports.
And you were aware that you were being sad, and you thought it was every time you were taking the drug that's what was doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Mum, could you notice this?
Yes, definitely. From the day he took his first Ritalin tablet, he was very quiet and still.
But he had a condition, and this was the way of controlling it or treating it. What sort of dilemma did that give to you? I mean, he would have been saying one thing, and presumably doctors were recommending something different.
It was hard because it wasn't Matthew while he was on the Ritalin. Matthew's a fun-loving, busy little boy, and it wasn't him whilst he was on the Ritalin, and that was the hardest thing to take for us as a family, and we knew, or we felt, it wasn't right.
Right, but plan B was what?
At the time, we didn't quite know. Then my mother-in-law watched your show, and IQ was advertised for children with behavioural problems. So I rang them up. At the time, we could only get it mail order, so we were ordering it over the phone.
And what was this? What is this?
Is this the fish oil?
Fish oil.
Dr. Chris talked about quite a lot, didn't he?
Yeah. And so we started him on the fish oils whilst he was on the Ritalin, because I felt that I needed to do something else. And then Matthew came to me and said that he no longer wanted to be on the Ritalin, and I'd been advised that the Ritalin was only ever there for Matthew, not there for anybody else.
Did you speak to your GP about taking him off Ritalin?
Yeah.
And what was the response?
He was very supportive. He helped us, throughout the whole process of making the decisions. He was, he always stressed that whatever we felt, he would be there for us and help us through.
Peter, I think, would you just explain a little bit what Ritalin does? Ritalin isn't obviously the only drug used to control ADHD. There are several others. Ritalin is a more well-known one, I suppose. A lot of people, I think it's a sedative. Is that how it works?
Ritalin's a brand name for a medicine called methylphenidate, which some people call mouthful phenidate because it's actually difficult to remember how to pronounce it. Ritalin is just one. I mean, there's Equacin, there's Concerta, there's Medicanet, there are lots of brands, but they're all products containing methylphenidate. And what methylphenidate does is it increases the blood flow and stimulates the activity in the frontal lobes of the brain. And the frontal lobes are the bits just above your eyes there. And they manage a whole load of functions like concentration and judgment. And the whole purpose of methylphenidate is to get that frontal lobe of the brain working.
It's interesting, isn't it, though, because you say it's a stimulant, and yet it seems that the effect it had on Matthew was to subdue him.
Absolutely. And it clearly, I happen to think, having talked to Lisa and to Matt, I think he was on too much. And I think that makes the point that any sort of intervention, any treatment for ADHD must be tailored to the child in question, must be for their benefit. And clearly, the dose that he was on didn't suit him. That's very clear. I would have taken him off that dose, but I suspect he was on a bit too much.
Whatever medicine you take, whether it's an aspirin or whether it's a cough medicine or whatever, there can be side effects. Are there known side effects or possible side effects to Ritalin?
Yes, in the short term, methylphenidate, Ritalin if you like, will suppress appetite, and I think that happened to you. A few people will feel a bit flattened on it and lose their spontaneity. And by adjusting the dose, that usually isn't a problem. And it will keep people awake at night. And that's why it's originally developed, of course.
Well, Matthew, then what happened? Okay, so you started taking fish oil. How did you take it? Capsules, big spoonfuls of it?
We started taking the little, some big bottles of liquid.
Yeah.
Mum used to give me 2 spoonfuls of them. And then I started taking capsules,
Yeah. And did you believe this was doing you good then? You
Yeah.
felt, yeah. And so how did you feel you changed and things got better for you?
As I moved on to my different years and classes, I started concentrating. I got a good result on my tests, and it helped me concentrate.
What about your sport?
Yeah, it helped me with a lot of sport. I was picked for the football team at Tiverton. I was, and I was quite good.
And meanwhile, Mum, you're on the sidelines. You're glowing with pride here. You're beginning to see a difference, yeah?
Yes, definitely. Matthew, we've tried, other alternatives. We've combined quite a few together, but I just feel that there is no, there's not much known about other alternatives. There should be a bit more.
What about the fish oils, Peter? What do you think of those?
Most of the children I see are on fish oils. Now, you can take that whichever way you like, that it hasn't helped them, that's why I'm seeing them, or that they're very widely used. We know they're very widely used. I think my difficulty with fish oil is that the evidence for its effectiveness is rather weak. I mean, because they're readily available, and because there's a good rationale. I've no objection to anyone taking fish oils, but they can be quite expensive, of course. So the quality of the evidence is not as strong as it is for conventional.
So there's scientific evidence for the retinol. It's anecdotal evidence for the fish oil at the moment.
Yes. Well, there are 5 trials, but only 2 have been positive.
Okay. Julia in West Sussex, I take Ritalin for my ADHD, and so does my son. It works really well, as long as it's closely monitored. They should keep prescribing it, she says. Eamond, sorry, my young brother has this. It was also prescribed Ritalin. It controlled his behaviour, and it made him lose weight. Oh, well, that could be good. Mary from Suffolk, my son is 14. He has ADHD. I find Ritalin made him worse. And then there's lots of people like Sarah from Birmingham, Jules from London, Emily from Scotland, all saying it has really worked for their children. So either does or doesn't.
Well, I suppose it's something you try.
Trial and error. Like
you did with Matthew, and if it doesn't work, you maybe go a different route. But you're saying that, it doesn't suit every child, but generally it's working very well.
Well, I think there's 2 or 3 things to think about. One is ADHD is a package, a combination of inattention and restlessness or hyperactivity and impulsive behaviour. You can arrive at that package through a variety of reasons and causes. So not all people with ADHD are alike. The second thing is that if you've got ADHD, you're highly likely to have something else like dyslexia, dyspraxia, an autistic spectrum disorder, other sorts of problems. So you're going to be managing those as well, if you're a doctor, as well as the ADHD. So you must be individually focused. There are other medicines apart from the Ritalin group, of course.
Well, Matthew and Lisa, thank you both for coming in and for telling us your story, the people talking, people thinking about this. Professor, thanks for your perspective on this as well. And if you've been watching and this is raising questions with you, you're affected by this, or you know someone who's affected by this and you'd like more information on the condition, it's there on the This Morning website, itv.com/thismorning. Please do have a look at that. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you. We've still got lots to come for you.